I think I just cracked the biggest mystery of the universe. How a Linux distribution is becoming popular. And I followed this for over 2 decades now, but it kind of came to me right now while I was watching some beautiful women do some things to each other, and also watching DistroWatch. I was watching DistroWatch, by the way, looking at distributions and looking at the ranking. And something kind of clicked in my brain, or my brain cell, something clicked in my brain cell, and it's like, why is everybody talking about Fedora? People have talked about Fedora for the last 10 years about how great it is and stuff like that, but nobody really cared. And then there was like, well, 6 months or so ago, a couple of, or maybe more, late last year, 1 or 2 big YouTubers was talking about Fedora. And then some, it opened the eyes, of course, for Fedora out for some. It then presented Fedora to a lot of new users or users that have not thought about Fedora for a long time. But it made smaller channels talk about Fedora. Why? Well, if there's a lot of traffic for big YouTubers doing Fedora, you come in under the same algorithm push if you do Fedora content, while a big reputable source is doing the same content. That's why if you see in the drama section, if there is one drama that's hitting big, everyone is talking about the same drama, because then they come in under the same search results on the YouTube. So 1 or 2 big YouTubers is talking about Fedora. Then the mediacore or medium-sized YouTubers are talking about Fedora. Then the bottom feeders like me are talking about Fedora. And then Fedora's getting a massive push, and now the even bigger YouTubers is like, oh, there's a lot of people talking about Fedora, let me now talk about Fedora. And then the medium-sized people are getting saying, oh, these massive YouTubers is talking about Fedora, let me talk about Fedora again. And the bottom feeders like me is like, well, if everyone's talking about Fedora, I have to talk about Fedora. Even though Fedora's done nothing different the last 10, 15 years. It's an echo chamber. A little bit like a pyramid scheme. You have one at the top, and then they're recruiting other YouTubers that are recruiting other YouTubers to talk about Fedora. It's just me making fun of it, but you get what I'm saying here. A big YouTuber is talking, a YouTuber or a couple of big, medium to big YouTubers are talking about a distribution that they like, and the community is then, of course, watching it because they are kind of big. And then the medium-sized YouTubers are, well, we have to pick this up because there's a big noise about Fedora in name of views and algorithm and money. And the bottom feeders like me is like, well, everyone's talking about it, I better jump on that bandwagon for views, subscribers, and money. And then the massive YouTubers don't really care much about that, and now starting to talk about Fedora for the same reason. There are probably YouTubers out there right now running Fedora because it's the in thing to do. It's became the thing to do in the echo chamber of Linux content creators. The last distribution that was like that, I'm just looking at the rank listing here. Not that the rank listing is indicative of what's popular, but it gives me an idea about what the top 10s are. And they tend to change around. In my opinion, it's between every 6 months to a year, a little over a year, the next thing comes around. Now it's Fedora. Before Fedora, I think we could say it was EndeavourOS. Before EndeavourOS, I think it was Manjaro. That was kind of the thing. And maybe MX Linux. For like a good, but like Manjaro was actually up there for quite a good while, where everyone loved Manjaro. Arch has been like coming and going, like in periods on and off. It will probably come again, where some big YouTubers is like, I'm going back to Arch Linux and talking about a lot about Arch Linux. Mediacore or medium-sized YouTubers like, well, there's a lot of traffic about Arch Linux, I better jump on the bandwagon. And then the bottom feeders like me is like, well, there's a massive amount of talk about Arch, so I better run on that bandwagon also. Again, we're just echoing what other people are doing. It's a really fun and interesting phenomenon to think about, chain reaction to think about, is that if you actually look about it, and I'm guilty of this myself, and I think every content creator is guilty of this. If someone prominent in a subsection that you are in on YouTube, the gaming, tech, or something like that, is talking about something, and the community is talking about it because of this big YouTuber has talked about it, and then medium-sized YouTubers is picking it up, it kind of echoes down through the ranks of YouTubers until they reach the bottom. And sometimes that echo goes back and forth a couple of time until the next thing is coming. And like I said, right now it's Fedora, and this has been true for over 20 years. I have been using Linux. This has been the case. So trust me, in a year or so, people will move away from Fedora. It could be Solus was kind of in that spot for a little while. Mint has been in that spot some years ago for actually a long, long time. Some have a long-standing place in that echo, like Mint and Manjaro has like been the ones that have been, really up there this long with Arch, that keeps being somewhat in that echo. Ubuntu's fading a little bit. OpenSUSE has definitely faded. Arch seems to be fading a little bit. People are moving more over to Fedora. And the fun thing is that all of the things that those massive, amazing YouTubers like myself like about Fedora, I don't use Fedora by the way, but anyway, the thing that people are talking about with Fedora is what the community that love Fedora has been talking about Fedora for fucking years. Fedora have not changed. Fedora is one of those distributions that keep doing the same shit over and over again. They just keep doing what they know they are good at. And when people are saying, oh, I'm using Fedora or Arch because this and this, well, you could have been doing that for 5 years ago. You could have been doing this, you could have been using Fedora 2 years ago. It would still be the same reasons you would be using Fedora, because Fedora didn't change direction. It didn't, change philosophies or anything like that. Fedora have been Fedora ever since Fedora came out. So if a lot of people are changing over to Fedora, a lot of it is because of hype. It's the fear of missing out, or FOMO. It's the echo chamber. It's being echoed. They're being bombarded with hey, Fedora, 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 Fedora. And then they are running Fedora and they're like, it's actually a good distribution, so why don't I keep it? And then they are telling themselves that I have to change because this and this and this. And they are not thinking about that they're actually being influenced from the echo chamber and the community echoing Fedora, Fedora, Fedora. Even though they could have changed years ago. I remember 2 or 3 years ago, there was a lot of talk about Fedora from the low tier. When I say low tier, I mean the low tier subscriber count YouTubers, like the 10,000 to 100,000 YouTube subscribers. They really loved Fedora back then, but it didn't really got the traction it got right now. Why? Because a big YouTuber picked it up. And now people are saying, oh, Fedora is the new Arch and stuff like that. No, and here's the thing, I could understand it if Fedora have done something massively different the last 6 months or year. It has not. That's the beauty with Fedora. That if Fedora today is the same as Fedora in 5 years, and Fedora today is the same Fedora as we had 5 years ago. They keep doing what they're doing because they're really good at it. They keep doing the same release cycle as they're doing. They keep doing their upgrade cycles as they're doing it. They keep implementing new technologies in the way that they are doing it. They keep testing new stuff and software within Fedora as they have done the last fucking, I don't know how long it's been around, 15 or 16 years or more now. It didn't change like dramatically the last 6 months or year, 2 years. That's why it's really funny that a lot of people are just now opening up their eyes for Fedora. And you see a lot of the same people running Fedora today have used Fedora in the past and actually liking it, but stuck with Arch or some other distribution because it was the popular thing to do. And it's really funny when you see that echoing going on within Linux. Nothing wrong with it. It's kind of like that with every genre of things in life, is that something becomes the next new thing, and we all ride that, fab or bug or what you would call it until it dies out and we jump on to another one. It's what it is. But all those videos, oh, Fedora's the new art, or my new daily driver is Fedora, or this is why Fedora is better than X, Y, and Z distribution. Those videos could have been made at any time the last 5 or so years, because Fedora have not changed. There are probably some out there that didn't know that much about Fedora, that got their eyes open. But I will believe that if you start to talk to a lot of those new Fedora main runners out there, they will change as fast as the next big thing comes out, because now that's interesting. Oh, now Arch is interesting again. Oh, this is why Arch is now better than Fedora, even though Fedora and Arch don't change. It's really funny to think about. And it just shows you how easily we get influenced by outside sources as humans, by what we are being exposed to from peers and friends and colleagues and people we talk to. There is no doubt about it. Fedora is being talked more about today than it has been the last 3-4 years or something like that. And again, it is a massively great distribution, but it was the same fucking great distribution 3 or 4 years ago. It's just because someone big ran with Fedora and it got a lot of traction, and more YouTubers started to talk about Fedora with the community, that now we are all echoing that Fedora is the next thing to do. But it's really, really interesting that us monkeys that think we are so independent and so self-sufficient with our thoughts, and we are so in tune with not being pushed around and influenced by outside sources, is actually being influenced and pushed around by outside sources. But yeah, just a little rant video. I just found it really fascinating. Anyway, see you all later. Bye bye.